Hi, it's 2026, and I've decided that I'm a food hoarder. You know, you heard of those hoarders, and you've seen they even did a TV show about it, and all those people, and you have like mazes through. Well, you'll see a picture of my freezer and a picture of not only my pantry in the house, but I have stuff in the garage. And so I've decided in 2026 that I've got to cook everything in my freezer and my pantry. Probably might be throwing some things away, but so I've decided I need to clean this out, because as you know, we're moving into a motorhome. It's probably going to take me a couple years. I've joked about it for years. If there's a major disaster, just come to my house, because I'll be able to feed everybody in the neighborhood for, I don't know, 2 years. So my plan, my New Year's resolution, I guess, as you would say, is I'm going to clean out my pantry and my freezer. So the only thing I should be buying from the grocery store this year is fresh produce and dairy products. That's the plan. And so I have this great recipe. My mom's house is up for sale, and the realtor, who I've known for 30, let's see, I do my math, 32 years, I think. He provides this newsletter. So I saw this Cowboy Casserole, hence the cowboy hat. And so I decided I'm going to try to do this. Now, because we're cleaning out our pantry and our freezer, we're not going to follow the recipe exactly. We're going to substitute for things that we have, because the whole idea is to clean out the pantry and the freezer. So I'm going to go ahead and use some avocado oil. And as you know, I chop up my vegetables all at once on the weekend. So I decide how much vegetables I think I'm going to use for that week, and then I'll chop up 1 or 2 onions. So I've got about 1 onion here. So I'm going to go ahead and use all of this onion, because it's saying 1 yellow onion, and then I'll have to chop some more for my recipe for the rest of the week, because as you know, I put them in my breakfast, and it's always nice to have fresh chopped onions on hand, and you don't have to chop them when you need them. And it also says 2 cloves of garlic. So as you guys know, I use garlic from Tastefully Simple. I think it's a 1/4 teaspoon equals a clove of garlic, but I'm gonna go ahead and put about a tablespoon in. So it's a half of a lid full. So I'm gonna fry up my garlic there. This is going to go ahead and cook for a little bit, because we want to get our onions nice and soft. So this is going to be kind of a fun adventure. I have a lot of stuff in my pantry. So I buy it a lot of times when it's on sale. And then the 99-cent only store went out of business last year, 2 years ago? Last year. And I went over and I bought, if they had 12 cans of what I liked, I bought 12 cans. So our onions are starting to sizzle here, which is good. We just want to get them a little tender. So again, I buy meat when it's on sale. Okay, so I have a lot of things in my freezer because of that. So I shop the meat department. Whenever I'm at the grocery store, I walk down, and wherever I see these bright yellow stickers, if it's something I use, I buy it. I'm not doing that this year. They're going to go out of business. The grocery store is going to go out of business. I buy a lot of stuff like that. So we're not going to do that this year. We're going to use everything that's in our. So I went ahead and opened up my hamburger, and I just went ahead and put it in that same container that I had my onions in. There's no sense dirtying extra containers. So my onions, as you can see, they're starting to caramelize a little bit, so they're going to be nice and tender. These were chopped up really fine. I chopped them up the consistency that you're going to use for most of your meals, okay? Because, like I said, you're making this for the whole week, so you don't have to chop onions all week long. So we're going to put in this hamburger. Okay, how many of you know the tool that I'm going to get out of the tool drawer to smash up this hamburger, make it all nice? If you haven't seen my videos before, you're probably thinking it's a spatula. You're wrong. Those that have watched my videos, you know that your potato masher is mostly used for meat. They should call it a meat masher. Hey, they make they make smashed hamburgers now, but they use their hand or a spatula for that. But your potato masher is going to be your friend for grinding up your ground beef or your ground turkey, anything that you want to get fine. Okay, so once you got this all smashed up, then you can get rid of your potato masher. This particular hamburger is 7% fat, so I'm probably not going to have any fat to drain off. But if you do, then the easiest thing to do is, some people try to hold a lid over it, then the lid falls off, and then half of your meat goes down the sink, and then you're trying to rescue it. Just use a strainer like you do when you're going to cook pasta. So it says a cup of taco seasoning. Where I got this Taco Bell taco seasoning, I have no clue. Probably when I cleaned out either my mom's estate or Charles's mom's estate, because it's not something that we would have bought. So I hope it has good flavor. We usually use Fiesta Party Dip from Tastefully Simple or Wahoo Chili, depending on the temperature that we like. So we're going to go ahead and mix this seasoning in. If you don't have a nice pair of kitchen shears, Cutco's the way to go. They're expensive, but they come apart for easy running them through the dishwasher or cleaning. And they'll even cut through bone. I love them. I do have an inexpensive pair of alternate shears, so I can have things to open up packages when they're in the dishwasher. I was going to buy a second pair of Cutco, and then I decided when I saw the price that a cheaper pair of backups was fine. Because my things have been in my pantry for a while, I'm going to just wipe the tops of all these cans off really quick, just to make sure that there's not any dust. You think, oh, it's been in my pantry, it's not going to have any dust, but sometimes it gets a little dust, so that way they're all nice and clean. I love my Pampered Chef can opener. Let's see, it says it, so we're going to cut all the beans. So both of the beans need to be drained. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. So you don't make a mess, just put your strainer in a bowl and bring it back over to the surface you're working at. Because otherwise you have to stand there and shake it, it's going to drip all over. So just go ahead and put it in the strainer. If you've needed to strain your meat, you could use the same strainer. So see, even after I moved it, there's quite a bit of sauce still in there. So we've added a can of chili beans and a can of black beans, and it said pinto beans. I use chili beans, same kind of thing. If you have the beans with jalapenos, you just want a bean, you don't want to use a refried bean. You want something that you're going to drain off. And in your pantry, if you only have chili, it's okay, just drain the liquid off. It's going to still work as well. Okay, so we've got those in, and now it says a can of tomatoes. I always use the petite diced tomatoes, even if the recipe calls for whole canned or any kind of cut potato, not to where it says tomato sauce. I don't always do that, or tomato paste. But if it asks for a cut tomato, and you don't have to use the whole or that's. I like the petite cut because I'm going to show you something about this lid. I like the petite cut because they're bite size. See how nice they are? Oop, there we go. This one. See how nice they are? We're not ever going to have some big chunks. With the Pampered Chef can opener, there's no sharp edges, okay, on either the can or the lid, so it's really safe. But I still put the lids inside out of habit. And it says, let's see, it says hot sauce. I'm trying to see how much. It says a teaspoon of hot sauce. Can you hand me that hot sauce, Charles? Thank you. I always shake my hot sauce first because sometimes it does settle. I'm going to use some habanero lime. And I'm just going to pour it in. I'm not going to worry about how much it says to do. It says a teaspoon, but I'm putting more in. We like it spicy. Okay. I think I got everything in here but the cheese. Oh, I got to put sour cream in here too. Okay, so I've got to put in 1/4 cup of sour cream. So because it talks about making this for the sauce, this is making the sauce mixture, and this is the first time I've made this, I am going to kind of measure my sour cream a little bit. A little bit over. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put in the sour cream. And then I'm going to mix it with this spoon that I used for the sour cream. I used to lick it, but I'm trying to keep watch on my weight, so I don't want to lick that sour cream spoon. So I'd appreciate it if you guys would share my share, like, and subscribe to my website if you haven't already. And if you have, please tell your friends about me. I think about us, I should say. We do a lot of fun things. It's going to be interesting to watch me become not a food hoarder anymore. Okay, so this is all kind of, it has a nice sauce in it. I thought it was blended. Some sour cream showed up. Okay, we're going to cook this just a little bit till it thickens just a little bit more. Oh, I'm only putting in 1/2 cup of cheese right now, so we can do that. And I'm going to use the Daya, and just about 1/2 cup here. So if you're using, if you're non-dairy, this Daya brand, it pretty much tastes like real cheese, like cow cheese, but it also melts nice. It acts like a cow, a real dairy cheese, I should say. But this is going to be just fine. So we're going to let that set for a little bit. And then it says this particular recipe calls for frozen corn kernels. All this stuff in the freezer, no corn. Well, I had corn on the cob, but I didn't want to waste that on this. So I looked and I had some canned corn. And this is white corn, but I love white corn. It's harder to find white corn in a can, I think. And so we're going to go ahead and use this white corn. And so because it is in a can, we're going to drain this first. And again, carry it over in a bowl so you don't get your floors all gicky. Okay, this has made a real nice sauce now. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. We're going to go ahead and add our corn. Now, because the recipe called for frozen corn, the recipe is going to say cook it for a little bit longer because it's got to defrost that corn. We didn't use frozen corn. So we're just going to, oh my goodness, this looks so good. I love white corn. I think in my opinion, I think white corn is sweeter than yellow corn. And then Charles grows a corn that's, I don't know what it calls it. It's probably some kind of hybrid. It's part yellow and part white corn, and that's really good. Okay, so we got this all mixed together. Let's see if we mixed anything else here. Okay, so this is done. So we're going to turn this off. We are going to, it calls for a regular 11 by 9 pan, but I made 6 dozen enchiladas the other day. I always try to make things particularly things that take time, like enchiladas. I try to make them in bulk, and then I put them in the freezer, and hand out a lot to the neighbors. So I've got a little bit bigger than a 13, an 11 by, instead of 11 by 9, it's more like a 13. So lightly grease your pan. Like I said, I've got a bigger one here, and then we're going to pour this in here, and it should come out pretty much all of it. You can use a spatula. I'm going to use you can use a rubber spatula. I'm just going to use this spatula because it mostly came out. Okay. And then I bet that you put the cheese on next, but it might be the tater tots. Oh no, it's with the tater tots next. So this says a 16-ounce bag of tater tots. This is a 20-ounce bag of tater tots. So you could either, I'm just going to put them on here and see how it works. I'm going to just put part of them in here to start with. And I'm going to see if you just want a single layer. I'm just going to go ahead and use the whole bag. I was going to say if it was going to make a second layer, I was going to keep them for breakfast, but I think this will be just fine because I have the bigger pan. And I'm using sweet potato tater tots. And then I'm sure we put the rest of the cheese over. Let's see. Oh, it says bake for 25 minutes with covered, and then we're going to add some cheese and then put it back on. So we're not going to put the rest of the cheese on yet. So we're going to cover it with foil. So they make up those pop-up foil sheets, and those are fantastic if you're using them for a certain size. So I use them in the bottom of the air fryer. But for this, if I was using that, I'd have to use 2. And so it's much easier just to get, I just get a plain value. They have different sizes of one. I keep the, what is this, a 12-inch one? I keep the 12-inch one in my kitchen, okay? But I have that bigger one, I think it's an 18-inch one, that I keep in the pantry out in the garage, so when I'm cooking big things like turkeys or roasts, I have that. So we're just gonna go ahead and take this off. Foil has a shiny side and a dull side. Does anybody know why? Put your answers in the comment if you know why. So the shiny side will reflect the heat, and the dull side retains it. So we're going to want to put the foil, the shiny side out in this case. If you were doing like turkey and you wanted to, if you're wanting to crisp the skin, you're going to put the shiny side towards the skin. But if your skin is already nice and crispy, then you're going to put the dull sides towards the skin. So we're going to go ahead and cover this up. Our oven's heated up, and we're going to bake this. Oop. I got some new pot holders at one of the craft stores. They're homemade, aren't they cool? Put this in the oven here. I think they said it was going in for 25 minutes yet. So we'll come back when that's ready to come out of the oven. Or cleaning up my kitchen because we're waiting for that to bake, and guess what? I forgot to put in the frickin' chilies. So I'm gonna grab this out. And this is like real time. This happens to all of us. Okay, so it's supposed to be mixed in with all of that before I made the sauce, right?
And before you put the potato.
And before I put before I made the sauce and before I put the potato skins in, the tater tots in, I mean. So we're gonna do something funky here. We're gonna open up this can of chili, and thank goodness I got diced chilies. I'm gonna get a fork, and we're gonna put these all over the top. Oh man, I can't believe I did this. But you know, we all forget something every now and then, so I could have decided to leave them out, but the chili is the most important part, I think. So I'm just gonna add those on top. I'm gonna put it back in the oven, and I'm not gonna change the timer on my oven. I don't know where I put my oven, my pot holder. But I'm gonna put it back in the oven. So it was only in the oven about 3.5 minutes. So it's gone back in. So that's another good reason to clean up as you go. Because if I had walked away, because it's 25 minutes, and forgot, then it would have been kind of a little too late for my chilies. So our 25 minutes have passed, so we're gonna take this out of the oven and see what it looks like. I keep putting my pot holders here and then wondering where they're at. I don't cook too many things covered with foil, so this is kind of I just don't do this two-step thing. Looks pretty good. So now we're going to add the rest of the cheese. So it's another, well, we added a half a cup before, so it's only 1/4 cup, but I'm just going to, because I have a little bit bigger pan than we're supposed to do here. Really not too much such thing as too much cheese, except for then the potatoes won't get crispy. Okay, so we put we put the cheese on. Let's make sure I haven't forgotten something else here. I cleaned up everything. So that's the other reason it's really a good idea to put all of your ingredients together that you're planning on using. Because had I not put the chilies there, I would have totally forgot them. I wouldn't have remembered them until I went to taste them. I'm like, I don't taste chilies. Okay, so we put the cheese on, and now it says sprinkle with the remaining cheese, which we did, and it says cook to 15 to 20 more minutes until the tots are crispy and the cheese is melted. So our 18 minutes has gone by. Let's see how crispy these are. Oh, they're nice and crispy. Does not look, that looks so good. So we're gonna let this, it says let it rest for about, oh, I thought it said rest. Nope. So yeah, so it says cool slightly before serving. So we're gonna let it just sit here for a couple of minutes. This is fantastic. It looks so good. This is fantastic. And remember, this is a recipe that I just saw in a newsletter. I changed some things because of things that I had in my refrigerator, my freezer, and my pantry. Because I wanted, that's the goal this year, is to use these things up. So let's go ahead and see how this looks. I'm going to scoop it out with a spoon because I think it's going to be kind of soupy. So we've got our 2 beans in there. We've got all of our cheese. We've got our chilies, and I use sweet potato tater tots. This is really hot. The sweetness of that white corn is incredible. All the flavors mingle and come together. This is going to be one of my new go-to dishes. If you get invited to one of those the church potluck, this is the dish to take. Everybody's going to be talking about it. Enjoy.